Hi friends, welcome back. I'm MC, and today we're gonna do something a little bit different. We are going to organize our yarn stash to the max. It's gonna be awesome. Let's get into it. Hello. We have something a little different for you today. This is potentially my most asked question, and that is what I use for my yarn stash tracking and how I do it. And so today I have for you a couple of different options for templates. One is free and simpler, and one is a paid template that is super complex behind the scenes, very easy to use, but I put so much work into it and it will give you all of the yarn stats that you want. So this is going to be a mostly video where we look at my computer screen and walk through things together, and it's going to be me showing you how it all works. So if that's not for you, if you're not into it, that's totally fine. I'll see you in the next video. But if you want to know how all of this stuff works, we're gonna get going. So what I have done is I have created a simple yarn stash library, which I have been calling it, that I will be offering to you for free. The link will be down below if you want to go poke around and grab it. I do highly recommend that you watch this video though to see how it works. And then for those of you that have been eyeing my yarn stash tracker that I have been using for over a year now, we do have that available for all of you. It will do all of the math. It will tell you all of the things, all of the stats that you want to know about your yarn stash, and we will get into that in a little bit. A couple things before we get going. First of all, I have my computer down here in front of you that I'm going to be looking down at throughout the whole thing, and then I have notes up behind you on a different monitor that I'm going to be looking at to make sure I don't forget anything. But hopefully that won't be too distracting. I'll be in a little box in the corner, so hopefully that won't be annoying. And secondly, I am not a technical teacher, instructor in any way. The product that we're going to be using today is called Notion. Don't think I mentioned that yet in this video. Off to a great start. And I will link a couple of beginner Notion videos that are from more qualified people. If you want to learn a little bit more about the program itself, you don't really need to watch those. If you want to just use it for this tracker and that's it, and you just want this tracker to do its thing for you, you really don't need to know the ins and outs of Notion. I will show you a couple of different customization options today, but if you want to really know like how it works, or you want to maybe add some information to these trackers or get them to do different things for you, I will link some more qualified tutorials down below. So the first thing that you're going to do is head down to the description box and click on the link to whichever one of the templates that you would like to download, and you're gonna have to enter in some information, name, email address, stuff like that, and then you will receive the link to the Notion template. And when you click on that, you're going to see something that looks like this. And if you do not already have a Notion account, you'll be prompted to create one. It is free. And then something that I have noticed in the past when I've tried to download templates is you might have to click the link to the template again because it'll bring you to like a welcome to Notion kind of page or something like that, and it won't bring you right to the template that you were trying to download. So don't worry, it's not lost. You just might have to go back to your email and click that link one more time to get to this page. Then to get this, what is going to happen is you can see that you'll be on this page and you can click around. Like I can click things, but I can't change anything. I can't, like, if I wanted to click and change any information, I cannot, because this is like basically a read-only file. So what you want to do is head up to the corner, the top right, and there are these two boxes that are kind of overlaid over each other, and that is how you duplicate it. So you're going to hit duplicate, And then it will ask you, you see how it brings you to like a welcome to Notion thing? It will ask you where you would like to add it. Now, if you are brand new to Notion, you're only gonna have this one like workspace and you will just hit add to private. If you are a Notion aficionado, you might have other places that you want to add it to, but if you have those, then you already know how to do this. So you probably don't need to be watching this part of the video. So you're just gonna click add to private. I'm not going to do that because I already have it. But what will happen when you do that is you will open Notion, whether on the app or in your browser, and you will be able to find it in your sidebar. I usually have my sidebar collapsed because I like to have as much working space as possible, but you can use this button in the top left to collapse or open your sidebar. And as you can see, the trackers that we're going to be using today are right here. This is where they will have populated for you, maybe more up here in your private. I just have my things organized a little bit differently because like I said, I use this all the time. So one quick note about Notion templates in general and for me in particular, and that is that yes, you are signing up and you are getting a link to a template, but please treat it like you would any other digital product and do not share it with others. Even the free one, it would be more beneficial to me and kinder from you if you would send people to me so that they can get the templates, even the free one, from the correct manner. Treat it just like you would with a knitting or crochet pattern that you get. You wouldn't just go giving that out for free. Hopefully you wouldn't. So please do not share this link with others. Just send them to the place where they can get the template for themselves. Thank you on behalf of me and all digital creators everywhere. Okay, so the first thing that I like to do personally when I get a new template is I like to make a duplicate of it. And then I keep a folder where I have an original copy of all of my templates just in case something goes wrong. I try to mess around with something. I try a new formula and it screws up the data, whatever. I have that original so I can always go back and either reference it or just copy my information back over into that, whatever I need to do. And to do that, what you're going to do is click on these little 3 dots that pop up and you're just going to say duplicate, and a duplicate copy will populate and then you can save it wherever you would like. And then I will show you a little bit of some customization and a teeny tiny introduction to what Notion looks like before we get into the nitty-gritty of these templates. So first things first, like I said, I'm going to collapse my sidebar because I like it that way. Now, the first thing that I always like to do with any new Notion templates or pages is I like to head over here to the top right corner, and there are 3 dots that you can click on, and this is where some general personalization, customization comes in. I always like to select full width. That's the first thing I always do because this is how it will populate normally, and that just personally seems a little silly to me. I want to use the whole page. Why would I want all of this extra white space? But you never know. It depends on what you want to use it for. So I always like to select full width. You can also select smaller text if you would like more to fit on the page. I don't like that. It's not a huge difference, but I just like the regular text. And then you can also select different types of fonts. I usually leave it on default, honestly, purely out of laziness and just because I'm fine with the way the font is to begin with, but you can select a serif font if you want, and you can also select a mono font, whatever floats your boat, whatever vibe you're looking for. Totally fine. You can select and change whatever you like. I'm gonna leave mine on the default. And then a couple tiny little customization things that you can do is you can change your icon and your cover. I picked something a little bit generic for these templates just because, you know, I don't know what your taste is. So I will show you how you can change those. Now, the icon, you can just click on this and then change it to whatever you want. You have the full emoji library available to you. You can click and change it to anything you like. There are also these icons that are available, and all different shapes and little graphics, things like that. You can make it anything that you want. And as you can see right now, mine are all pink. But if you click on this little dot over here, you can change it to any color. So if I wanted my whole theme to be brown, I could change it to brown, and then I can select whatever icon that I want. You can also upload your own. So if you have an image of, I don't know, your yarn stash or some yarn that you like or whatever, you can upload that as well. You can also go to Giphy and copy a GIF, and it can move around. This can be animated if you would like it to. I will show you shortly how to do that when we get to the cover. So you can upload anything that you like here as well. For the cover, we can hover over here and click Change Cover. And then there is a gallery that Notion has of different colors, different images, art, things like that, that you can select from. But you can also upload your own from your computer. If you had, you wanted to take a picture of the shelves that your yarn is on and have that in the background, that's totally fine. You can upload that directly. You can upload a link, which we'll come back to in a second. And then there is also access to Unsplash. So all of these images are free for you to use. You can type in anything that you wanted. So I can type in yarn and I can say, ooh, I like this shelf, and I can change that. And then you can also click on reposition, and you can drag it however you would like, only vertically. And I could move it down, say I wanted like the warmer colors, the pinks and stuff to be showing. I could do that. So I am going to just hit Command Z on my computer, just so that I am keeping things in the template unchanged for you, but you can do whatever you like. Now let's talk about that link. So you can take a link from anywhere on the internet and put it in here and have the image populate. Let's talk about how. So just for the ease of finding something and using free images, I am going to go to Unsplash, which I already have open here. I know you do have access to that through Notion, but this is just an example. You can find something on Pinterest. You can literally anywhere find a picture that you want, as long as you're not using it for commercial use. If you're using it for yourself, you can copy the picture from anywhere, but if you are going to share it with someone, make sure you have the right permissions for the photos. But anyway, for instance, let's type yarn in here, and we're probably going to get some more options. So let's see, what do I like? I can scroll around and find something. Ooh, I like this one with all of this messy yarn. So what I'm going to do is right click on it and click Copy Image Address. And then I'm going to go back to Notion, and all I'm going to do is paste it. So I can hit Command V, Control V, whatever you use for your system. Paste that link in there, hit Submit, and give it a second. There we go. Now we have that yarn. And again, I can reposition this however I want to. So once again, I'm just gonna undo that. But that is how you can customize any page that you want. You can also do that. That would be the same way you would go to Giphy and click Copy Image Address, and then you can also add it in as your icon. Anything that you would like to do, you can make it work. Okay, we have made it past the general Notion customization, setup, all that jazz. Let's talk about our simple yarn stash library. I have this one as walkthrough just because this is my special copy that I can mess around with, and it's not going to affect what the template looks like for you. So whether you are getting the simple free version or the more complex Ultimate Tracker, I would still recommend that you watch this section, because I'm not going to repeat everything all over again. Once we get to the Ultimate Tracker, there's only going to be a little bit that we have to talk about for the differences. So I would highly recommend that you stick around and watch this part because it's all going to be the same. And who knows, you might want to download the simple tracker, play around with it for a little bit, and then realize you want to upgrade to the ultimate tracker. So here we go. We have our template, and there is this little drop down toggle at the top that says open me. And so if you click on that, it just has a couple notes from me. I will be embedding the link to this video right here so that you have it if you want it, if you need to reference it again. But obviously I'm filming this video right now, so it can't be embedded in the template at this moment in time. And then it says you can now click on the dots that pop up to the left of this box and click delete or toggle this box closed to save this note for a rainy day. What that means is there are these dots over here that pop up next to the box on the left, and if you click on it, you can then hit delete and this will go away and you don't need it anymore unless you would like it. So once again, I'm just gonna undo my changes. Okay, and here we are with our yarn stash library. We have a couple of different tabs that are here at the top. And so basically, this is all, every single one of these tabs is all pulling from the same data. It is just different ways to show the same information. So you can make them as customized as you want, however you would like to view the data that you have about your yarn stash. So the first two are exactly the same thing. It is your current stash, what you currently own, but one I have set up as a gallery and one I have set up as a table. I know a lot of people like to see pictures of their yarn, so that is why I have the gallery set up, but I personally like to use the table, and sometimes I find it easier to enter information in the table, so that's why I have that there. If you would like to pick one of these, for instance, say, I am never gonna use a table, I only want the gallery, I like to look at my pictures, you can right click on this view and you can hit delete. Easy peasy. Any of these views that you like, you can hit delete. So I have these grouped by yarn weight. So we have lace, light fingering, fingering, sport, blah, 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 all that stuff. Again, same deal with any of these categories. You can always say delete. You can delete the group. If you would like, if you're like someone that never, ever, ever uses lace weight yarn and you don't even want it, you can hit delete. So I find it easier to enter information into a table format. So I'm going to show you how to do that. You can totally do it in the gallery as well, but I find it easier in the table. So basically right now we have a lot of things expanded. I only have 2 types of yarn in here as examples. So you can, all of these toggles, you can toggle them closed if you would like to save space and have a little bit, you know, not open and filling up space on the page. What you can do when you want to add in a new type of yarn, so you've just gotten this downloaded and you need to start entering in your yarn. You are going to select whatever type of yarn it is and you're going to hit new page. Now you can see it has automatically populated that it is fingering weight. So let's say we're gonna get really creative and we're gonna hit yarn C because that's what we've kind of already started with that. Now you can select the brand. I can say brand 1, brand 2 that I already have in here. I can make brand 3 and I can just hit enter and it will create a new one. This you can also, if you wanted to, it will just automatically select a random color for you. But if you want to, you can click on this, say you made a typo, you can rename it. You can also change the colors. So if I wanted them all to be yellow, I can do that. So you can see in my weights, I made them all this light gray. You can change that if you want to. Then you can add an image in exactly the same way that we did when we were talking about the cover and the icon. You can upload it if you already have a picture taken from your phone or your computer, or you can embed the link. So if you wanted to go to the manufacturer's website for that yarn that you're putting in, and you can say copy image address, and you can embed the link here as well. I just picked some really random images so far for my yarn as just examples. Then what you're going to do is enter in the yarn's information. So you can say I have, this is fingering weight. So let's say it's 450 yards per skein, and it's 100 grams per skein. And then when I enter in that I have 3 skeins of it, you can see I have now the total yards and total grams will auto populate and calculate for you exactly how many yards and how many grams you have in stock, in stash. You can also add in the date that you received it if you would like to. If you're starting from your beginning stash, then maybe you don't have the dates, but if you wanted to keep track of something throughout the year, you could do that. You can just click here and select whatever date you would like to put in there. And then there is a spot, if we just scroll over, where you can add your projects. So this is just a place to take notes. You can also change this and make it just notes and say, I really like this yarn. I want to get more of this. I hate the way this feels, something like that. Or you can say, I used this to make a hat for mom, if you would like. Then there is this destash/sold checkbox and a used up checkbox. And that is for something that we have up here for these views. So for instance, let's say that I destashed this lace weight yarn because I don't want to use lace weight anymore. So I'm going to click the destash sold box, and now that has disappeared because it's not in my current stash anymore. And let's say because I use this fingering weight yarn in this hat for mom, I can now say it's used up, it's gone, it has also disappeared from my current stash. And now if we go to these views up top where we say used up, my yarn C that I used in the hat for mom is over here and visible. Now, if you would like to see what you used it in, you can also click on these dots, and I can make this projects page visible. You can see like the little I is grayed out and crossed out right now. So if I click that, it will make it visible and I can know, oh, I used this yarn in the hat for mom. We can also go to our destashed/sold view, and now yarn A, that lace weight, is in there, and I can know that I destashed that. Now, one other view that I have up here is for single skeins. And this is filtered so that anything that I only have one skein of shows up here. Right now, that's the only thing that is in my stash because of the changes that we just made. So I have one skein that is a single skein. And something else that I will show you while we are here is if you want to know a total, you can click on the name of the category and you can say calculate more options and then sum. And now it will show a sum of 1, right? But if we had multiple things in here, it would say I have 13 single skeins. And same deal if you want to go to your current stash. This will only work in the table view, not the gallery view, but you can say I want to know the total yards that I have in my stash because I want to try to knit 10,000 yards this year and I want to see how many I'm starting with. You can click on it, say calculate, more options, and sum, and then it will, oh, what did I just do? I hit the wrong button, sorry. You can hit calculate. Oh my goodness, my fingers. You can hit calculate, more options, and sum, and then you will know your total yardage. So, the only other tab that we have up here is the full database, and this is just a place where all of the data lives. I just like to keep this as a kind of reference just in case, maybe you you accidentally click used up on something and you like lost track of a one of your yarns, you're like, where the heck did that go? I can't find it. I just like to keep the full database so that this is just a place where every single thing you've ever entered in lives. You don't have to keep that. If you want to delete that view, you totally can. Now let's talk about how to create your own view and how things are filtered. So let's talk about our single skeins again. So this, like I said, is filtered so that there are only things with one skein are showing up. If I go over here and hit expand, now I get all these options for how to manipulate my database. I can click on these like lines that are stacked on top of each other and that will open up my filters. So as you can see, this is filtered so that the number of skeins equals 1. But I can filter by anything that I would like to. So if I want to, I could say, instead, what if I don't care about single skeins? What if I only want to know the yarns that I have enough to make a sweater out of? Say I need at least 4 skeins to make a sweater, and I want to know anything that has 4 or more skeins. So instead of skeins being equal to 1, I can do skeins is greater than or equal to 4. And now that will populate. Of course, I don't have any data like that entered in here yet. So you can either click this add button and add a new view and then start from scratch, or something that I like to do is actually right click on a view and then say duplicate, because now I can say, let's say this is sweater quantities. Now I already have this filter capability that's already set in here. I don't have to start from scratch. I can just change this to skeins is greater than equal to 4. And now I have both of those filters if I want to. You can also rearrange these in any order that you want by clicking on it and dragging it around. And like I said, if you just don't want one, you can hit delete and delete this view. So hopefully that all makes sense. Like I said, that is a little bit of a quicker guide through what this will do for you and how you can customize it to your liking. But if you want to like really get into it, if you wanted to, I don't know, have a section for like everything that came in by month or something like that, I will link you to tutorials that can help you figure that out. But this is a simple tracker if you just want to have all of your yarn in one place and have a couple different ways that you can look at it. This is the perfect template for you. And that brings us to the ultimate yarn stash tracker. I have been using this myself for over a year now. I have been testing, I have been making sure everything works, I have been making sure all the formulas are good. There is so much on the back end of this, and I know a lot of you have been excited to give it a try. So here we go. When you open the link for the Ultimate Yarn Stash Tracker, this is what it will look like. Again, I have it named as walkthrough just so that I can mess around and not worry about changing anything. This is your main page. And again, this one has an Open Me section. Again, you can change anything that you like on here to customize it. This has an Open Me section, and this will have a little bit more information than the simple tracker. This says, when you're ready to get stashing, click on Yarn Stash Database 2026 below and head straight to the Starting Stash tab. And there are a little bit more directions down below, but let's go over a very quick tour of what this page looks like right now, and then we will jump into how to add your information in there. So we have a link to our Yarn Stash database. We'll get there in a second. I also put a spot for some goals that you can put here. If you want to get through 50 skeins, if you want to knit 1,000 yards, if you want to, if you have like your 9 projects that you want to get to this year. You can have that there and have it checked off, whatever you want. You can also delete the goals section if you don't want it, just like you would with anything else. You can click on these dots and hit delete if you don't want it there. You can also add an image if you just want to put a cute little picture, if you want to put a like an inspirational message for yourself, you can do that as well, whatever you like. Then over here in the right hand column, we have our yarn stat widget. This is where the magic happens. This will tell you what you started the year with for skeins, yards, and grams. It will tell you what you currently have in your stash. It will tell you what you brought in this year and what you removed this year. So that is really complex. A lot of stuff happening behind the scenes, but it's magic. And for all of these, as you can see right now, they're all expanded, but any of these where you can see this blue box, you can click on these arrows that pop up and hit minimize, and then it cleans everything up and makes it beautiful. So I'm gonna do that and just make it pretty. Then down here in our left-hand column, we have our monthly in. So this will automatically populate what you brought in each month. And so once a month is finished, you can click onto the next one. They are all here and all formatted exactly how you will need them. And then over in the right-hand column, we have our monthly out. Same deal. It will populate whatever you have removed from your stash based on the data that you put in. And then down in the bottom, we have a project tracker. Now, if you don't feel like doing this, you can totally delete this. You don't need it. But I thought it was fun to keep a little project tracker down here if you want to relate your yarn to what project it was used in. And we'll get to how to work that in a little bit. So we've done a basic tour of our main page. Now let's follow those instructions and go to the Yarn Stash database and head to the starting stash tab. So we open our Yarn Stash database. What I'm gonna do so that I can flip back and forth between these easily is I'm going to right click on it and say open in a new tab. Otherwise it will open it right in this page, which, you know, is your preference. So I'm opening it in a new tab, and this is our Yarn Stash database. Once again, you can change your icon and your cover however you would like. Now, you will see that this has the same tabs that our Simple Tracker had. We have our current stash in a gallery. We have our current stash in a table. We have our single skeins. We have what we've used up. We have our destashed and sold tab. And we also have our full database hiding down here, but we have one extra one, and that is our starting stash, and that is our important tab. What you need to do to make this whole thing work is go and enter in your starting stash in this tab. So you're just going to keep going, add a new page, and you will say Yarn C, and that is from brand 1, let's say. You can add your image of it. It is a fingering weight, and it has 450 yards per skein, 100 grams per skein, and I have 3 skeins of it, right? That is going to automatically, in the back end, behind the scenes, it will be marked so that this is part of your starting stash. Now, if we go back to our ultimate yarn stash tracker, excuse me, I'm doing so much talking, I'm losing my voice. You can see, if you noticed before, this was at 2 skeins. And so now it says I started with 5 skeins. So this is very important. This is how we're going to get our starting total for skeins, yardage, and grams. This is where we want to insert all of our beginning stash. After that, everything's going to work exactly like the other tracker. You don't need this tab anymore. Honestly, I would not delete it, but you shouldn't need to visit it anymore unless there's a mistaken accident, something like that. I wouldn't delete it though. So now we can go to our all of our other tabs, look at all of these views, and everything is there. Our starting stash is in there with our current stash, but also anything else that we have added. So like you can see, let's see, you can also open these tabs and take a look at a pop-up of the yarn if you would like more, if you would like to really like look at each one of the yarns individually. You can also add more images here if you would like. Let's see, which one? Which one is the one that I added in later? I can't remember which one it is. I think it's Yarn B. Okay, there we go. We can see with Yarn B that I have a date in of January 7th, 2026. So this one, if we go back to our Ultimate Yarn Stash Tracker, we can see that Yarn B is here in January. So this has one skein, so it shows that I brought in one skein this year. So whenever you want to add in a new yarn, you can go ahead, and sometimes I find it a little easier to open up these cards and fill out all the information this way, but you can add it in the table as well. So let's say I want to add in another fingering weight. I can have yarn D, and I will just make that brand 2 and 100 yards, 50 grams. I don't know what kind of yarn this is. And I only brought in one skein of it. But I brought it in on, we have to pretend we're in January already. I brought it in on January 10th. So all of this other information has populated, and if I go over here, now it says I brought in 2 skeins, and my Yarn D has populated over here in my tracker, in my monthly in tracker. It's like magic. Now I will show you down here, if we scroll down, there is a section that says backend. And if you expand this, I will just show you so that you can see what it looks like. These are all of the things that make the magic happen. These are all formulas and backend things that I have done to make all of the magic happen. Please do not delete any of these, okay? I'm showing you what they look like so that you know that they're there. You really honestly should never have to expand this backend area, but it's good for you to know all the stuff that's happening behind the scenes right now. A lot of these say 0 just because we're working with some really basic information right now. This tracker is not filled out very much, but these can get kind of complicated. So you know that they're here, but you don't need them, okay? Just leave that collapsed. You don't need it. Now, what if I brought in Yarn D on January 10th, and then I was so excited to use it, I couldn't make it any longer. I needed to use it up and make something. So I can go into the card for Yarn D, and right up here at the top I have all of the sections where you can just very quickly mark it as out if you want to or need to. So I can say, oh my gosh, I couldn't stand it. I had to cast on the next day. So on January 11th, I used that one skein. Now, if you notice, it disappeared from our current stash. And if we go over here, back to our main page, it now shows up in our monthly out section, and you have removed one skein. It's like magic. It's like magic. It's amazing, right? So we can do that. You can also select destash/sold if you would like to, or if that's how you got rid of it, and then that will help it to pop up in our destash sold section. If it is, let me close this for a second. If it is used up, if you used it in a project and dstash/sold is not checked, it will show up in the used up section. You don't have to select it like you did in the other tracker. But if you do select dstash/sold, it will then pop up in the dstash/sold section. Pretty self-explanatory. Now, one other thing that I can do with Yarn D that we have used up is I can connect it to my projects. So let's say let's say I used it for that hat for mom, right? I can click here and I will have to select and make a page. I have a scarf and a hat here already that I have just as like examples for you. So let's say hat for mom. You can obviously put in the pattern name if you would like to, or whatever you would like. I'm going to hit new hat for mom in Project Tracker. And now if I close out of this, it will have the project linked here for me that I use it in. And if I go to my Ultimate Hub, when I scroll down, I have hat for mom has populated down here. Now, let's talk about this tracker a little bit. Let's say that like I said, I started it on January 11th. I can add in a start date, I can add in an end date, and I can also, it will populate automatically the yarns that you used. I can also select the status. So I have a couple different options in here. I have done, which means, you know, self-explanatory, it's done. In progress, I have hibernating. So if there are things that you're kind of in the middle of, but you haven't really worked on them in a little while, they're kind of on the back burner, you can set it as hibernating. And then I also have not started. So if you wanted to do some project planning, you can add yarns to projects without actually marking them as out of your stash yet. So if you wanted to do some project planning, you can also do that down here and have it set up so that you can just like take a look at what will be going on in your future projects. So now, since I started that, I can set it as in progress. And then I also have some tags over here. I just set up knitting and crochet, but honestly, you can make it whatever you want. You can do gifts and create that tag. You can, I don't know why I changed both, but you can do charity, whatever you would like. It doesn't matter. You can make the tags anything that you would like for, you know, if you want to do garment versus accessory versus home goods, whatever works for you. You can delete the ones that I already have in here, add whatever you want, or just delete the tags in general if you don't want them. Now, I also have a section where you can look at your completed projects, and this will be completed by month. So you can see I just have this fake hat in here. Apparently I didn't use any yarn for it, but I started it on the 16th and finished it on the 17th. And as soon as I set the status to done, it will pop over here and you can see what you have done this year. Whoops, I accidentally selected a bunch. So you can also, just like any of the other tables, you can make filters for whatever you like. If you wanted to have your in progress and then you wanted a view of just your hibernating projects because you didn't want to look at them at all, you can totally do that. I think, let's see, oh yeah. The only other thing I have to say is that you can also add new yarns from your monthly in page if you would like to. You can click on new page and you can make new yarn there and say the date in was, you know, January 17th, and it will pop up and fill out all the information as well, right? You do not have to go to the Yarn Stash database to enter it in. However, if you do want to remove something, you cannot do that from the monthly out tracker because, you know, this has already been filtered for things removed in the certain month. So if you haven't removed them yet, you won't be able to find them. You have to go to your Yarn Stash database to remove things. And you can see our new yarn has populated in the used up because I didn't put in how many skeins I had. So if I put in that I got 5 skeins of that, now it has removed itself from my new yarn, and it should be, or it has removed itself from my used up section, and it should be somewhere. Oh, you know what? It's not, because I didn't put a weight in either. I wasn't doing anything. I didn't fill out anything. So if you put in, fingering, all that jazz, now it should be over here in the new yarn should be over here in my stash database. And that is why, actually, let me show you this. Let's remove this and let me show you why I really like to have a full database, because, right, we just for a second, we're like, where the heck did it go? I can go to my full database and I can go, oh, there's the new yarn. That's why it's not populating, because I don't have any information in there yet. Let me fix that. So that's why I like to keep the full database as an option, as a tab there. Just, you never know. Sometimes the data disappears, but it hasn't disappeared. You just can't find it. It's somewhere. Okay, that was so much information. Thank you so much for sticking with me. I'm very, very grateful if you did. I really hope you enjoy this. I will say, for this Ultimate Yarn Stash Tracker, I only set it up for yarn. Mine currently has yarn and fiber. So I was thinking about it and I went back and forth for so long trying to think about it. Because you could, if you wanted to, in lace, fingering, sport, DK, you can add fiber as an option if you wanted to. If you have a smaller fiber stash, you could do that. It does get a little funky with like yardage. That won't work, but I wasn't sure. I wasn't sure if there were enough of you out there that are interested in the fiber portion for me to make a version. I'm happy to do that. Just let me know. Right now we only have yarn, but if you would like a yarn and fiber, let me know. I can build it for you. And let me show you just really quickly the service that I'm using to sell this Ultimate Yarn Stash Tracker is called Gumroad. And I do have it open here just so that you can take a look. The tracker is only $5, which, let me tell you, there is so much work that has gone into this. I built every single one of those formulas, tables, everything myself. Notion has an AI tool. There's obviously resources on the internet where you can get things to build stuff for you. I did not use that. I will not use any of that. So I did this all myself. It has been completely built from scratch by me. And if you would like to grab the tracker on Gumroad, you can click the link below. It is $5, but it is also kind of a pay what you want. So if you would like to give me a little tip and give me $6 or something like that, you absolutely can. There is zero pressure. But yeah, this is where you would buy it. You can just put your price in that you want to pay. Even if you want to pay the $5 that it is, you still have to enter the $5, and then you would hit I want this, and it will populate where you can put in all of the things, all the information, and then you'll get the link to the database. So that is it. That is all we have to say for today. Thank you so much for sticking with me. Thank you for your interest in this tracker. I'm really excited about it. I love it. I love doing stuff like this. And if you're not interested in tracking your stash, that's fine. That's totally cool. There is no judgment. You do not need to track your stash. I just love seeing all this information and seeing what I can manipulate to make it show me what I want. I think it's so cool. So anyway, this has been going on forever. I hope you enjoy. Thank you so much. And until next time, take care of you, and I will see you later. Bye.